The traditional yogic understanding is that the mind should be destroyed. The mind is the great enemy, and through various practices we should achieve total quiescence and even get into some very blissful higher states of consciousness. But this, I think, represents a rather naive understanding of spiritual teaching. We are not trying to stop thought, which is what the traditional yogi is usually concerned with. Why should we want to stop thought unless it's a big problem? What we want to stop is our tendency to get hypnotized by thinking, to get lost in it. Our sense of being gets lost in our thoughts and also in the objects of the senses. Our thinking, our cognitive process, not only creates notions about objects, beliefs and so on, but it also creates emotional involvement in these objects. And as a consequence of that, we've got the ups and downs of our many moods as well. So in this passage, in this chapter, we're being told that the mind must be destroyed. The mind alone provides the senses with their intelligence, hence this mind should be destroyed. Certainly our involvement with it should be destroyed, or the master-slave relationship needs to be completely turned around. Normally we're enslaved by our mind, even tortured by it. Our mind causes us so much trouble. That's because our sense of being has been completely usurped by it. So we can understand then that the mind has to be destroyed in the sense that the relationship between our sense of being and the mind has to be completely upturned and reversed. And the mind should then become a useful tool. Our present state is like having a hand which is gripping our throat most of the time. I mean, the hand is a tool and our mind is a tool, but the mind is working against us. It's throttling us, it's throttling our sense of being. We don't want to destroy the hand, but certainly we have to remove it completely and make sure it's doing what is conducive to our own well-being. So here the language of destruction is being used. O mind, why do you vainly get agitated through the five senses? Only he who thinks, it is my mind, is deluded by you. So here's the approach we're using. We don't give the mind any authority. We take back the authority that we're ascribing to it. You do not exist, O mind. The mind is a bundle of notions. It has got nothing to do with what is going on. I see a mouse, a computer mouse. I desire this mouse. I want it. And if it belongs to somebody else, I'm going to steal it. So we build a story, you see, based on our desire for objects. Okay, it's not a very realistic scenario, I agree, but it's just as silly. This mouse is an object with colour and shape, like any other object. We're getting appearances with colour and shape. It's just that some of these objects with colour and shape somehow press our button more than other objects with colour and shape. But if we just realise that it's all just colour and shape, why focus our emotional energies on one object more than another? Mainly we do so because we expect that that object is somehow going to give us or bring us a sense of inner fulfillment. It never does. Although we might have that belief for a short while. So all this is a construction of the mind that makes one set of colour and shape somehow more important than another set of colour and shape. But none of that exists in reality. It is all our projections, all our conceptualization. I do not care whether you stay or you go from me. In other words, we're no longer interested in destroying the mind. The mind has become irrelevant to our own sense of being. You are unreal, inert, illusory. Only a fool is harassed by you, not a wise man. This understanding puts an end to the darkness of ignorance. So we just step aside from the mind. We come back to our own sense of being. We turn the attention back on itself. We turn our awareness back on itself. That awareness is what everything arises within. Get out of this body, O ghost, along with your cravings and your emotions like anger. O mind, I have slain you today because I have realized that you never did exist in truth. Once you've reached this position where the mind is, or where the attention is attending to itself, you wonder, well, what was the problem? What was the problem? What was all that turmoil about? Most problems that we have are totally mind created. Mind forged manacles, as William Blake said. For a very long time, this ghost of a mind generated countless evil notions like lust, anger, etc. Now that that ghost has been laid, I laugh at my own past foolishness. The mind is dead. I feel we should also say here, long live the mind. Because now the mind can be used as a tool. It can be used to interact, to communicate. We're not going to get caught up in it. So the mind is dead, I think, is the tendency to give authority to the mind, to not be enslaved by it anymore, to realize the illusory nature of its fabrications. All my worries and anxieties are dead. The demon known as ego sense is dead too. All this has been brought about through the mantra of inquiry. Now, be careful, this is just a metaphor here. We're not repeating anything except the self-effort of self-inquiry. I am free and happy now. All my hopes and desires have gone. Salutations to my own self. It seems a little bit quaint saying salutations to my own self, but what we've got here is acknowledgement, acknowledging our sense of being, realizing it once again. There is no delusion, no sorrow, no I, no other. I am not the self, nor am I someone else. I am the all in all. Salutations to my own self. I am the beginning. I am the consciousness. I am all the universes. There are no divisions in me. Salutations to my own self alone, that which is omnipresent equally in all, to that subtle indwelling omnipresence, that self, salutations. That self, this self, is the awareness within which everything arises and which is non-different from all that arises within it.